Welcome to another episode of Afterschool Anime Club. I'm your host, Max Newland. And with me today, as always, he's got the power over life and death and possibly also hot dogs. It's Max Kostrak.
Yeah!
Nice.
Hello.
And she's been trapped in a dungeon with nothing to do but work out. It's Stevie Matos.
I am so buff. Not really.
Huge. Enormous.
Huge, enormous.
Incredible.
The gains. They're just so, my muscles got muscles. Hey.
And they are an interdisciplinary artist working in theater, games, and visual art. They do a lot of graphic design work for the Moonshot Network. And they've previously been featured on episodes of Riley Hopkins and Their Amazing Friends and Champs in the Making, both great Moonshot podcasts. It's Caro Assertion.
Hello. Thank you all for having me on for this episode of Afterschool Anime Club.
Well, welcome to the club. Pop your feet up on one of the school desks here in the room. Our faculty sponsor is never here, so...
Actually, here's the thing. You gesture to the desk, but it turns out I'm sitting there.
Oh,
and not
well, don't
Kara.
put your feet on that desk.
Not that one.
Because usually I'm up at the front of the class. I'm the one who has a little presentation for you. But I'm actually going to take a seat with you guys.
I love that there's a TTRPG like layout on this. I've really never thought that hard. I love y'all's investment. That's cute.
Thank you.
And I'm joining you guys today.
Welcome. Oh, welcome.
In
You're going to
fact.
roll down here in the dirt with us?
Yeah, thank you
Yes.
for coming down from your lofty throne to hang out with us, us fucking like lowlives, us fucking peasants.
Royalty's made his way down from the mountain to dine with the peasants.
How was Olympus up there for so long? How was it? How was it? Come down for us.
It was
You know.
great.
No geese, no cows down here, no spiders for you. No.
All right, let's stop razzing the undercover boss. And Newland, what is it we are doing?
Well, actually, I don't know what it is
That's
we're
a
doing.
lie. You know that you know exactly what we're doing, Newland.
Oh,
I'll jump in here because when Newland was soliciting guests for the Afterschool, for guest hosts, folks to come on the podcast, I reached out and asked, hey, if you have me on, I'll come up with the game for y'all, and take the effort off of Max for having to come up with a little thing. And so I'm excited to if y'all are game for it to.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm actually very hyped.
yes, this is a podcast first. This is our first guest game.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. Well, I hope y'all are ready to get your thinking caps on and come up with a little bit of wordplay, because the game that I've come up with for today is called Afterschool Anime Flub.
Let's go.
All right. Cool.
Here's how it works. I've got in front of me a list of characters and titles from different anime series, but somebody misheard these while they were being written down, and so they are riddled with typos. Your challenge is to guess the pun based on the clues that I'm going to read out for you.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. This trio of criminals has sworn to catch that meddling Pikachu, and their oath is represented by the pendants they wear around their necks. That clue would lead to the answer Team Locket. Team Rocket?
Okay.
Team Rocket?
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Any questions before we dive in?
Oh man. If I
This is
forgot
so
my
good.
if I forgot my thinking cap, is a drinking cap acceptable? Because I think that's gonna better equip me to fucking wipe the floor or be wiped on the floor. Whichever.
To get wiped?
Yeah. Let's
Wiped.
Sounds good. Let's jump right in. I guess we can, fingers on emoji,
Yo.
and
We're
we'll,
buzzing. We're buzzing.
press.
Oh shit. Okay, hold on. Oh no.
Y'all, this is nerve-wracking. I've never been on this side of it. This is
Whoa.
nerve-wracking.
Oh. Oh,
you've never buzzed in,
yeah.
and oh yeah. This is the horror. This is the terror I feel every day, Newland, is knowing that you could be made a fool.
Hope you got your deodorant on, Newland, because you're gonna sweat. You're gonna sweat today, Newland. Oh, I hope your stress sweat isn't as oniony as mine, buckaroony. Actually, I hope that it is.
I hope so too.
All right. Want emojis. You want an emoji. I see what you're doing here.
Whatever, anything works. You know, whatever you're buzzing in with. But our first question: this $60 billion double-dollar nuisance is sweeping across the continent, but rather than destroying buildings, he is leaving behind itchy, flaky, irritated skin.
Oh.
Newland, you have the buzzer first.
That's Rash the Stampede, Caro?
Rash the Stampede is correct. First point goes to Newland. All right.
I love that.
Second question here. This is a magical girl series which showcases all of the sewing tricks that Usagi and her friends use to stitch together their outfits for those flashy transformation sequences. I think that's you, Kostrak?
Yes. Is that Taylor Moon?
Taylor Moon is correct.
This is great.
Wow.
This game rules.
Wow. Wow.
All right, here goes number 3. If you told the protagonist of this series, hey, maybe you should add some mustard or aioli to that sandwich, he might reply by saying, no need for those condiments. I've got a spread of my own.
No, damn it!
Stevie, is that you?
Yes! Tenchi Mayo!
Tenchi Mayo! Correct.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
This is so stupid.
I'm going to be thinking about Tenchi Mayo for days.
Some very good product placement. I was really particularly proud of that one. All right, score is all tied up. Here's number 4. This short-tempered woman has convinced her coworker to stop filing reports for Bernadelli Insurance until they get some proper workers' comp and a union. Stevie.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. It's oh no. Oh no. I don't know. It's Millie, but I don't know how to make it a pun.
I'll give you another second here before we pass it over to Kostrak.
No pass. No pass. Just gonna have pass.
Kostrak, is that you?
Is that Meryl Strike?
It is Meryl Strike.
Wow.
Don't cross that picket line.
I forgot her last name. I was sitting here trying to turn Meryl into the pun.
I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII. Strife is top of mind.
Ooh.
Okay.
Crisis Core? Is that what you were?
Yes, that's
Nice.
exactly what
Nerd.
I'm doing.
Nerd. Good job.
We'll talk about that off the podcast.
All right, bringing it over to question 5. This series, previously covered by the Anime Club, follows a dirtbag hero and his child sidekick being chased by bounty hunters and bargain hunters as they travel through outer space in search of some legendary retail therapy. Is that Kostrak?
Yeah, I'm going to take a guess here. Is it Outlet Star?
Outlet Star is pretty good. I had a different answer, but I will give you the credit for that one. The answer I was looking for was Outlaw Store.
Store.
We'll just go fully and say it's Outlet Store.
Yeah, let's go with that. There we are.
I'm so upset. How could you?
Moving on to question 6. This is a series soon to be covered by the Anime Club, which follows the escapades of an occult detective, and it's infamous for its product placement for hand toys that you spin around on a string. Stevie.
Yo-Yo Hakusho.
Yo-Yo Hakusho is correct.
Yes. That's how you know you get Newland, when Newland just goes, oh, no.
Isn't there
Just a sigh. That's how you know you got them. That's how you know Newland's got.
Isn't there a character in the show that does use a yo-yo? Am I remembering wrong?
I wouldn't know. I've never actually watched it.
It's been so long, I don't remember. I just remember.
We'll find out.
We'll find out in a couple of episodes, I suppose.
Yeah.
Preview.
All right. Well, we are 6 questions in. Just checking the scoreboard. Newland, you're at 1. Kostrak at 3, and Stevie at 2.
Love it.
I've got 3 more questions here.
Okay.
So it's still anyone's game, and these are all shows that the club hasn't covered, hasn't discussed yet.
Okay.
And each of these questions
Tougher.
counts double.
Okay, hard mode.
Oh,
Double. Okay,
okay.
hard
It's
mode.
really
Let's go.
anyone's game. Okay.
Truly.
It's anyone's game. Question number 7. This 6-episode OVA released in 2000 and 2001. It's a surrealist coming-of-age story involving robots, Vespas, rock and roll, and a bright red beverage mascot bursting through a brick wall. Kostrak.
Is that Fully Kool-Aid?
God
It is
damn.
fully Kool-Aid.
No.
We all 3 buzzed in on that one, and I just came in under the wire.
Mhm. Shout out to everybody for getting those points in. Moving on to number 8. This is an avant-garde series that follows a disaffected teenage girl witnessing the internet boom from her suburban home in a European country that borders on Portugal and the Mediterranean Sea. Newland.
That's Serial Experiments Spain.
Serial Experiment Spain is correct.
So dumb. I love that.
It's
good.
I would watch the version of Serial Experiments Lane where it's just set in a completely different country.
We're describing a lot of animes that I would watch.
All right, last question on the board here.
Okay.
This shoujo series is widely considered groundbreaking for its exploration of queer themes, its iconic student council sword fights, and its bizarre cameos from a Nickelodeon cartoon character created by Jonan Vasquez.
What? What? Oh no. I can
Can
think
you
of
give
like
it to me
3.
one more time?
Yeah, can we get it one
Yeah,
more?
I'll read
more
it one
time.
more time. This shoujo series is widely considered groundbreaking for its exploration of queer themes, its iconic student council sword fights, and its bizarre cameos from a Nickelodeon cartoon character created by Jonan Vasquez.
I have the wrong half of the of what this is.
Yeah,
I think I have
same.
the right half. I don't have the funny half. I don't have the pun.
If no one speaks up, Stevie, maybe we can combine our powers at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put 2 and 2 together here.
Oh man, I don't know.
Because we got to be talking about Invader Zim, right?
Yes,
For,
okay, we're on the same page
Jonan
there. It's got to be
Vasquez
Invader
series.
Zim. Stevie, do you have the anime?
I think the anime is either Fruits Basket or it's Chobits. Is it Fruits Basket? It might not be Fruits Basket. Now I'm
I don't
now
know.
I'm doubting myself. Now I don't. Now I don't
I
know.
think we have all struck out.
You found the point that's outside all of our Venn diagrams.
Oh my god! Yeah.
The answer that we were looking for with this one was Revolutionary Gur Utena.
Oh my god.
Revolutionary
Wow.
Girl
I
Utena.
even thought Utena when you started it, but I couldn't make the connection.
See, you said.
Mm.
See, I thought when it's like shoujo, and I was like, wait, shoujo. I was like, wait a minute, and the first thing in my brain was like Fruits Basket, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know.
Revolutionary Gur is
Just knock a letter off. You
this
know?
is one of the
Just
last
one letter.
crossovers I would ever imagine.
But I would be there. I would be there so fast. I would be there so
Mhm.
fast. I would take that mashup so hard just to see Gur in the little dress. Yes, 100%. With the little cane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watch it.
You got Choo-Choo right there. It's basically the same thing.
I mean, is it not? Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, it's every episode that's just about Gur is essentially
Mhm.
Revolutionary
Wow.
Gur Utena.
well, final scores are in with these questions. Stevie, you're on the board with 2.
Yes.
Newland with 3, and our
Yes.
winner Kostrak with 5 points.
Good job,
All is
Kostrak.
right.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Oh,
I've got the
right.
pun power.
You're a teacher for all those years.
I feel
You
very
had to be
powerful
corny
right
as
now.
hell.
I'm
You should
ready
be.
to talk about anime.
Mhm.
We have filled the winner with anime power, and now we must propel ourselves forward into what is, for now, the last episode of our Trigun coverage this season.
Oh yeah, this is the final one for
I am
for these
tearfully
for this season.
waving goodbye to Vash the Stampede as he leaves on a boat.
And this is
Yep.
like the best and like the worst time to leave him. So many things have happened.
Yeah, he's going through a lot. Yeah.
We're leaving
I-
essentially on a cliffhanger.
Absolutely,
feel
we're
like.
leaving on a cliffhanger. We are, and I'm out of wine. Oh god!
And
that's
you know
also a
what?
Cliffhanger.
We're there's definitely going to be a lot of discussion about that, because I have some stuff to say about this, what we've done here. I didn't know that there were non-manga episodes. I didn't know there were anime only episodes of this series because it was only 26
Mhm.
episodes long, and I was like, surely they're not going to, you know what I mean? Surely there's not going to be a bunch of filler
Mhm.
episodes. But here we are, and we watched in order. We're not going to skip filler on this show because, that's
Yeah.
the Anime Club experience. But sometimes it will surprise us.
I did not know this was filler.
Only part of it, and
Oh,
Yeah.
was
and
only
I'll-
the first one?
Only
Yeah.
the first one was
Okay,
And
and
that
then
makes
the second
sense.
One,
I was
yeah,
gonna
the
say,
second
the
one was
second
a
one
huge
could
plot
not.
Point. No, second one was huge plot point, huge character development moment there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still think we got plenty to talk about in episode 1 or 11 of 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yes, we watched episodes 11 and 12 of Trigun, and this is what happened. In episode 11, Escape from Pain, Wolfwood and Millie adopt a fugitive named Moore and escort her out of town. Meanwhile, Vash accepts a job from a high roller, the owner of the caravan, who also happens to be the father of the actual target of the people hunting Moore, Julius, her lover. Moore and Julius are planning to escape the caravan and his dad's human trafficking schemes, and Nick beseeches them to stay for the sake of the caravan. But they're unswayed and they leave anyway. Out in the desert, things start to look bad for Millie and the kids, but Wolfwood comes to their rescue just in time. Vash then hits the scene leading a pack of thugs and seemingly executes both the young lovers. Turns out they were just rubber bullets. Still not great, but okay. Nick leaves for real this time, and the rest of the gang hits the road. In episode 12, Diablo, we open on two guys who are not normal discussing a contract. Vash daydreams about a woman from his past, taking a break to entertain some kids. That is until a really fucking outrageous looking guy walks past and gives everyone the creeps. He introduces himself to Vash telepathically as Legato Blue Summers and predicts Vash will die today before giving a child a hot dog. Subsequently, Vash is framed for the murder of a shoemaker. In jail, Vash has time to reflect on the events of his past before an enormous interloper named Monev destroys most of the building. The collateral damage from Monev's weaponry is enormous, and countless lives are lost as he fires indiscriminately in an attempt to root Vash out. Vash doesn't like that, and we see what it's like when he gets serious. But memories of Ren keep him from pulling the trigger, even with the mass murderer completely at his mercy. And that is the cliffhanger we were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Wild. I just laughed because I loved that sentence. Where it's like, while giving a girl a hot dog, I was like, dang, that
Yeah.
really was what was happening. That was the
That
most
is what happened. to
that was
anyone
the
who
most
looked
wild fucking juxtaposition of like crazy shit that was going on. Like
It is. I
in that
posted a
moment.
clip of it in Discord, but it is incredible that he shows up extremely menacing, walks over to a bench, sits down, and pulls out a hot dog, undressed,
A hot dog.
and eats it.
That's
I'm gonna have a
power.
plain hot dog now.
That's power.
No
though. That's-
condiments.
That's so power. It's like I'm gonna telepathically
Yeah.
tell this dude how he's gonna die, but also like have a whole hot dog, plain as fuck. Give one to a kid. Essentially,
Dry.
like
Also having lunch.
try.
right now.
Also having lunch right now, but also at the same time, dude, y'all. What was that? The Naruto kids are gonna be sad at me, but like that fucking Shinjuku on a motherfucker, make him think that like he's crushing a kid's skull and be like, just kidding, just a hot dog, like dog.
Yes.
The power in this man. I was like, oh no.
Yes.
And for 2 seconds, I thought he was somebody else, and I was like, nah, he can't be somebody else. He can't. He's not the other guy. He's not the other guy.
This is the kind of thing that when I'm a viewer and as I'm watching this, the first thing that I'm thinking is like, where'd this guy come from? How did he just get? Why is he just here? You know, like
Right.
what
Mm-hmm.
from what parts does this power? You know what I mean? Because if somebody's a
Right.
big deal, we've usually heard about them in this show. I
This
guess
is
not
true.
though, because big man Johnson with the pretty lights. He just came
BDN.
out of nowhere. Yeah.
Big Dick Neil?
Big Dick Neil, he just came out of nowhere.
Dick
So
Neil?
maybe I'm talking out of my ass. I don't know.
Big Dick Neil.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually honestly my biggest qualm with this show. Is that it does character development, but whenever it wants. It really does character development whenever it wants, because that was a thing that I mentioned. I wrote down. I didn't mention. It's not like I've been talking about it for 20 minutes. But that's the thing I noticed, and like I actually honestly I realized I was annoyed about. I was like, I don't really like Meryl, and it's not that I don't like Meryl. It's the fact that it's like we don't really know necessarily why Meryl reacts to Vash the way we do. Like, it's easy to assume that Meryl has a crush on Vash without like, but is trying to put the job first. But we never ever have that moment. We never see her actually do that, have that internal struggle of being like, I think he's a really good person, I think he's great, but I'm here for the job. Because she just always acts like she hates him all the time, but then she gets really nervous about his well-being. And it's like, but if you only care about the job, then you don't need to care if he lives or dies. Actually, you should be hoping that he dies, because then he stops making you do your job. Like, you have to stop following this man around and filling out insurance claims on behalf of your job, right? Which is a tedious process. Or just say fuck the job and like the guy, because like that's the thing. We kind of see that, especially in episode 11, how she's like, I'm gonna shoot you, or I'm gonna stop this stuff, and then she like gives up. And it's like, why would you, if you know
You
him
can't
so
have it
well,
all,
why
Meryl.
would you, right, why would you even threaten him with the gun if you know he's not gonna do nothing about it? Like, if you know he's gonna be like, you ain't gonna do nothing about it, Meryl. Like, that's one thing. All that to say, I just wish that we got more insight into more key players, like in a more intimate way, to help explain the actions that they do, you know, during episodes. We don't get that a lot, and sometimes that is to our disservice.
The camera feels like it's, you know, not lending that space for, you know, personal interiority in that way. I think, you know, it's interesting that I agree with all of your points here, Stevie, but I love that episode 11 just starts with this little internal monologue from Wolfwood. Like, as he's playing this chess game, he's just like looking around the room. He's just trying to look at like anything other than this chess game. And I don't know, I thought there was something fun about that.
I love that. Yes,
I think Wolfwood is very well characterized.
Me too.
And
I
gets a lot of those moments.
Yes.
And I feel like sometimes, like to Stevie's point here, Meryl and Millie do end up being like a little bit of comic relief for the side for just a second, and then we're back to Vash. Like, we gotta get back to Vash, y'all. We do not have time.
Right, and
for
like,
any more
I guess,
of you.
and I guess that's me just being a woman watching anime and wanting more for women in anime.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, maybe it's that, but like, I mean, because they don't get a lot of development, but they're there. And oftentimes I'm like, well, with the exception of Millie, why are you here, Meryl? Because most of the time I'm like, Meryl, you could go home if you're not having a good time. You can just go home. You know?
Millie could handle this.
Millie can.
Millie is thriving.
Can
we get some really good Millie?
Yeah, I was gonna say that was one of the first things I wrote. I love that.
Let's just let's go ahead and enter into the Millie zone, everybody.
Yeah, let's go to the Millie zone.
I'm opening the door. Let's go in.
Give Millie all of her flowers, because Millie is so smart, and I love that Millie's naivete does not undermine her intelligence. I love that all the time. She chooses joy all the time.
She's a good person, and she loves pudding, and there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. She just wants a simple life, and she also can beat your ass at chess. That was my favorite. She was like, oh, here you go. Granted, I would also lose chess to a cat, so I'm really in the Wolfwood camp. I get it.
She did move one pawn, one space.
Yep. It was one pawn.
No. Wow.
That cat was like,
this guy was ready to give up while Nicholas was having this entire internal monologue. He's like, if this guy moves this pawn,
I'm so fucked.
I'm dead.
I'm so fucked. But I did love how like Wolfwood was low key like, if you knock over her pudding, she's gonna kill you, and just like let them dudes like knock over Millie's pudding, and she got so hot. I was like, Millie, I feel you, Millie. I'm like that. I'm like that about cake in my fridge right now. It's rum cake. I made it from scratch. It's very good. Not from scratch. Let me not lie to you, but I made it, and it's really good.
you got to be protective of that cake.
I do. I've been having it for breakfast.
It's like a baby.
But fuck
like
babies.
a baby.
Fuck them kids.
So I don't know if you all noticed it, but there was a very familiar. There was something very familiar about the character Moore in that first episode.
Was she was the voice actor the same one who did that other kid that I couldn't stand? There's so many kids I can't stand in these animes.
Okay, no, I don't think so, because this is a voice actor named Sherry Lynn, and she was in a little TV show called Tenchi Muyo. She plays the voice of Sasami.
I was going to say, was she? Wait, I was like, wait, was she Sasami? Yeah, yes. Her voice was very familiar. Her voice was super familiar. Yes, I love that. Them Romeo and Juliet ass kids. They're like, we're just gonna leave town. No agenda, no idea. If we leave, that means human trafficking will stop. And I was like, thank you, Wolfwood, for saying I need you to look at the bigger picture. But
I mean, this gets to kind of the central ethical question of this, like, this trolley problem. Is it more ethical to let the caravan die, or also, if the caravan keeps on going, it's it's perpetuating human trafficking, and it's like, I don't know, it's interesting looking at Wolfwood's perspective as a pacifist, right? Like that's what he's kind of characterized himself as. And also he says, this caravan is going to die, even if, but if you leave, it's going to die. But also he's kind of willing to look at the fact that there's, human trafficking going on. And I don't know, it's interesting to see how he kind of squares that philosophically.
Right. Well, because it was like, it wasn't just the caravan ending, right? It was like the town too, because the town needed the money from the caravan, because that was its basis, like that was the backbone of its economy. So he's like, you realize that it's like you leave and you're this whole weird elaborate plot in order for the caravan to enter the city. If you leave, then the people who need the things that your caravan provides, even though your caravan is doing this human trafficking thing, won't get the things they need. So like, who's more important? Maybe it's like, I think I took it as, at first I was like, dang, that's kind of fucked, Wolfwood, to be like, you can't, I think the human trafficking thing is a huge problem. However, I thought that I got the impression that Wolfwood was eventually like, the problem is not with the caravan. The problem was with the people who run it. And that's the person that you need to be taking up issues with, not abandoning everybody else. You should do something about the trafficking if that's the problem. And I like that. That's what I thought Wolfwood was trying.
Yeah,
to
that's
say.
what I think it was the idea of running away that Wolfwood was so upset with, like to go back and fix this.
Yeah, fix that part.
And there's something to be said about the fact that this is like not just some guy who works for the company too. This is the heir to the company.
Yeah.
Who is talking about this? Somebody who actually has a significant amount of leverage within. I mean,
he's the key. He's the guy who
obviously he has power.
On his arm.
Yeah, right.
It's like
they need him.
You could. Okay. Yeah. I see this argument a little bit more. It's like, why are you ditching instead of using the leverage you have to change the situation?
Yeah, it's like, like Wolfwood trying to get him to see that you actually do have power. You're not just some kid. You actually do have power to change this. And probably even if that power is something like just telling people that is happening, because who's gonna hurt you? You're the son of the guy who owns the caravan. Like,
so real quick to sort of like bring this around to the end of the episode for a second. Do they explain this away at the end? Because the kid who is the key here gets away. So is that caravan now doomed? Is that like
the speed at which
is that our takeaway?
Nope.
Yeah, sorry. So
they
guys,
don't address it. Yeah.
I didn't like this episode very much. I have to be so real with you about this.
It's really lame.
This plot was so complicated to cram into 22 minutes, and like also ended.
Yeah, the Vash turn did not make it was weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just biting off a little more than you can chew. I think like it's a little overcomplicated. Like, if you look at the general plot outline of a 2-episode of our arc of Trigun, it's usually really simple. It's usually like Vash and the gang are just happen to be around when some really bad guys show up, or Vash and the gang run afoul of some bad guys in the course of their normal stuff. Like, it's not usually this involved. You know? And not that I think there's a problem with that, but I just think that, like, you know, it's just ambitious to.
I can
put
very
this
much tell that it's filler. It is trying to do, I feel like, what a typical Trigun episode does, which, as you said, Newland, is like this: here's a big bad, or here's a situation. But there is always like a layer of somewhat like sort of showing off Vash's morality to it, right? Like, here's a complex moral situation. How does Vash navigate it? And maybe not complex, but like somewhat challenging to his belief set.
And I would venture that this one, instead of it focusing on Vash, it focuses on Wolfwood, right? Because it's a lot more about Wolfwood and how to get Wolfwood out of here. The only, I agree with you, Newland, this is probably one of the weaker episodes we've covered on Trigun. It reminds me a lot of the, oh man, that was it 1 or 2 episodes? Somebody refresh my memory here, where it was like about the girl whose dad like perpetuated something horrible and like it resulted in a duel, and like, oh, it was like his dad, like her dad, like took land from people by like killing everybody on it and then like taking it for themselves. And she decided to be like that generation that like broke that curse. Was that 1 episode or was that 2? That was 2, wasn't it?
That was the second half of the one where they get trapped in a bar during a big gang raid.
So it's like, so I was gonna say, I was like, this one felt like it dealt with kind of similar themes, where it's like, you know, you've got this generation knows that this is an issue. Like there's the younger generation knows that the older generation's committed atrocities and wants to commit themselves to undoing that work. However, this was poorly executed because I guess, I don't know if it was the writers wanting to just like not do the same story twice, but it was like, well, what if they just decided not to do that? It's like, yeah, okay, well, I've already fucking read Shakespeare, mate. I don't really necessarily need to fucking watch Romeo and Juliet in its condensed format again with nobody dying at the end. So I'm not too interested in that.
And we don't see the fallout.
No,
we
don't.
The final shot that we get is the caravan, you know, driving forward in the dust, and they're sitting in their caravan cars, and it's like, okay, well, you know, you're just sort of hand waving the fact that.
And the dad knows that the son's not dead, because apparently Meryl has a message from his dad about him leaving and being free, and it's like, okay, so what are you gonna do about the key problem that apparently you have, and like, what about the human trafficking? Are you going to stop doing that? Yeah.
Is that done? Have we fixed any of these problems?
No, but we did see it. We did get to see Vash shoot 2 children. So episode is a wrap. Like,
that's it. And Wolfwood did not have to atone his sins to the Lord. So Wolfwood is still a holy man at the end of the day, I guess.
Mr. Priest, as he is called in this episode, which I do love.
Absolutely.
Mr. Priest.
Who's apparently had a motorcycle this entire time?
Oh, yeah, the motorcycle. Yeah.
What was he doing on the bus?
Yeah, he's got a motorcycle, I guess.
He's apparently had a motorcycle. Anime sin.
Maybe he just found it.
Maybe that's true. Maybe,
and painted a cross on it and then took it.
Yeah.
The toy company needed to sell a toy that came with a motorcycle, and they chose. It's like all cartoons in the 90s.
Right, 100%.
We got to give Wolfwood an accessory.
Yeah, he can't just have his big cross full of guns.
It can't just be the big cross.
Yeah, that's a choking hazard.
Yeah, truly, honestly, poke somebody's eye out with that. Absolutely, 100%.
This episode 12, though, Diablo,
Dr. Doom.
Right,
loved it.
Who I thought was so my favorite was that watching the coming attraction for this episode, I was like, Dr. Doom, and then we actually get into the episode, I'm like, no, it's RoboCop.
He very much an like, X-Men villain. Like,
he's like Judge Dredd RoboCop, and weirdly kind of like Venom also.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does have a bit of a Venom vibe.
And like a sprinkle of Bane, you know? Just a sprinkle.
Something I didn't really mention in the recap is like the specificity of how much of Vash's backstory we're seeing. Like, this is a huge episode for learning stuff about Vash's stampede.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, there were a couple lines in there that I felt like were pretty big when he is remembering and dreaming about Rem and all these pieces here. Like, I feel like we're on the cusp.
Yes.
Yeah. And also we're seeing scenes that are obviously something that happened to Vash that was very painful for him, stuff that's really difficult to dwell on. Yeah. I'm thinking of he encounters a guy who I don't think I was able to identify, who's just like, hey, how's it going? And Vash is like deeply, like, it seems disturbed by something he's looking at.
I think he pairs it up with the is it him when he's trying to think about this guy who threatened him. Like, is that the same guy? Which could be huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we also got a vision of something like a giant skull. Did you all catch this one? This was rapid fire. This is when Legato was being introduced.
When Legato was walking by. When Legato was walking by, I thought that was part of Legato's outfit. Is that
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the implication here is that he's got a big skull under that shoulder pad.
Under that shoulder pad.
Under that shoulder pad. Yeah. I just love that his name is Slow Blue Skies.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
Slow, what is it? Slow Blue Summer?
Legato Blue Summers. The names in the show.
Slow Blue Summer.
What a
Legato
name.
Blue Summer. Slow Blue Summer. I love that.
And the villain, too, because I thought it was really interesting that the villain is Monev the Gale, which is very much like Vash, the human typhoon.
Yeah, the human typhoon. That's really cool. I love that. I want to know, I wish we knew if Legato we have Absolute with the mystery of episodes 9 and 10 being revealed, that Vash is not completely fully a human with having a literal handgun.
Man, point for my robot theory.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, is Vash an android? This still begs the question, because him and Legato were able to have a whole conversation telepathically, and nobody else has shown affinity for this entire
They're on that Wi-Fi.
They're on that Wi-Fi.
Yeah, Vash was not really like, he was stunned by this guy, but not by the act of telepathically communicating.
Right, that was very normal for his ass. He was
yeah.
Like he
was able to talk back immediately.
Yes, a thing that I wrote was like, I was impressed by this. I'm not impressed, but I was like, huh. One, I just like the way that it was animated, like the frame of like Legato walking by and like Vash being like frozen. And I was like, at first I thought it was fear, and then I realized it wasn't fear, it was recognition. And I was like, ooh. How you know
That's
him?
Cooler.
How you know Slow Blue Summer? How you know Mr. Slow Blue Summer?
They're really being set up here as having a history, and you know, even just in like looking at the wardrobe, like that was one of the things I took notes on. Like they are pulling from the same world of fashion. Like, you know, all of the other characters have these weathered clothes. You know, they're worn down, but Vash and Legato, like you look at the cuts of their jackets,
they're both in the same JRPG.
Ribbing. Exactly. Hey, and it's like they're set up to have that history in a way we haven't seen from the other characters.
Right.
Absolutely.
There's also a suggested duality between them in terms of color scheme, blue and red, as well as Legato meaning slow and Vash. I'm reaching here, but Vash rhyming with dash.
It is a fast name, isn't it?
It's a fast name.
The Stampede. He's fast.
The Stampede. The concept of a stampede, right? Like Vash Stampede versus, you know, like the concept of going, you know, recklessly and going quick, whereas like, you know, something slow and languid, you know, like Legato Blue Summers. He's methodical, and that was a big key for me that made me go. I like looked up from, you know, being a wine mom that I'm not. Fuck them kids. Was when he was like, oh, is this something from him when he's talking to Dr. Doom when he's in the prison just getting swole? And I was like, ooh, is who I think is your boss? Is your boss who I think it is? Who was possibly the dude in the flashback? Which would be very exciting. I forgot that he had that much power.
Yes, because they referred to someone. He referred to someone called the Master.
The Master,
right?
yeah. The
Master.
Right.
The
Master.
Hey, real quick, to interrupt us here, Garo, you have posted in the Discord.
I've posted a picture.
This is Legato to me. Will you describe what you have posted here?
I have posted a picture of Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh!
I feel the same way, Carol. Just so you know.
It's really close.
Oh, it startled me. Oh no.
Legato has very screw the rules, I have money energy.
Absolutely.
You know?
He's like, my daddy has 3 yachts. Don't talk to me.
I think it's very cool that he has this. At least I was glad to hear, Max. I think you were the one who described it in this way. Like I think it's very neat that, so he has telepathic abilities, obviously. This thing he does where he seems to like inject an image into Vash's mind.
Yeah.
That is not, that doesn't comport with reality. Like, that's very neat to me. And he suggests that he has power over life and death, could kill everybody in this town before Vash could do anything about it. I don't know. I'm just, a very tantalizing hook has been baited for me.
Right.
Specifically.
Like they establish
agree.
him as like the bad guy. Like he's a mini boss.
Yeah.
Like for sure.
Well, this is the first time I think we've seen Vash pushed. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
really and truly,
Right.
he's such a fucking like Bugs Bunny Looney Tunes guy. Even when things get serious, like most episodes, I've kind of like had this casually sitting back and waiting for Vash to do something.
Yeah.
And there's no real danger to him, it feels like. And this one, he was scared.
Yeah.
Yes. Like the PTSD this man had to go through this whole episode.
Like up until this point in the series, like Vash's, you know, his ability to defeat these 1,000,000 to 1 odds, like, you know, he's outnumbered, he's outgunned, and he always comes out on top. And it's been, you know, it's taken more of a dramatic turn, but it's always kind of had that goofiness and lightheartedness.
Yeah.
And Legato comes in as like another character who is like operating at the same power level as Vash, but with, you know, this malice, and it immediately changes the tone, not just of this episode, but of the world as a whole. It's like, oh, there are these other people out here who have as much power as Vash, but they're, you know, not using it to spread that love and peace.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I think it's like, it's this party's over moment. Like,
yeah.
Time to get serious.
The thing
Holy
that
shit.
that makes Vash, like, you know, stop fucking around about these people specifically, about Marv and about Legato, is that
Marv?
the enemies Marv? Is that his name? Merv.
Monev.
Monev?
No, it's Marv now. To me, it's
Marv.
Yeah, we are now calling him Marv.
We got
This is
Big
Marv
Deal.
to me.
We got Marv. Sorry. I'm sorry.
They're the wet
bad.
bandits. These
Yeah, I
two.
was gonna say.
Jesus. But like, I think the thing about that, I think what it is that before, people who were coming for Vash were just normal people, right? And I think not to be like
thugs.
Vash is, like, I don't, not to be like Vash is an elephant, but we all are aware that elephants think that, like, elephants look at humans the way humans look at puppies. We know this, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
that is absolutely Vash's, like, toying with everyone he fights.
Right, and it's more like, it's like, stop, please. You can't, if you tried. I know you're trying your best, and that's not good enough. Please stop. You know, kind of thing. Like, that's how he's like, I don't want to hurt other people because I really can hurt other people, you know? But now he's up against people who can and will and do hurt other people. Like, these are people who can absolutely hurt him and hurt others and will hurt others with reckless abandon. Those people who know how powerful they are and do not care. And those are people he's like, oh no, these are a problem. See, when Marv, I was gonna say Merv, it doesn't matter, I don't know his name. When Marv was like, I'm gonna fuck up everything, and he was like, absolutely. And Vash didn't get like, oh, I gotta kill this guy. It's more like, I've got to defend the town from all these other people. Hence him trying to get out of town, right? And then he was like, oh no, you're trying to defend all these people? Well, let me make them indefensible. Let me kill them for you real quick. Let me get them out of your way.
He wrecks shop.
He levels half of the town. He levels half of the fucking town. Like, just to be like, oh, you think that saving them is going to save you? And it's like, damn. And that's what makes Vash be like, oh, wait. You know, Vash understanding innately that these people are not here to fuck around, and these people have no care for human life, because those are the people that Vash doesn't like to fuck with, right?
Absolutely. And Vash rises up out of the rubble with essentially a different animation style and team.
Yeah.
Like, he comes out in serious mode. Like, I was
God
like,
mode.
oh shit.
I was like, oh shit, Blue Eyes White Dragon activated. Let's go.
The weights are coming off.
The weighted training clothing.
Yeah. It's a huge transformation that he undergoes in this episode. Not only the animation style, he behaves completely differently. Everybody's commenting on it. Like Millie and Meryl are quite disturbed by his behavior.
Yeah.
And we do see possibly what went on with his arm at the end of the other episode, where his wrist detaches into a gun, and which I think is very fun because his hand is still there holding like a trigger for it.
It's holding the trigger.
Yeah, very cool, very fun. But he still is not able to pull the trigger, even though he gets Monev completely flat-footed, utterly at his mercy.
And he is, you look at his face, he was ready to do it. I mean, he was a
right
second
there.
away from pulling that trigger.
And the only reason why he didn't was because he begged for his life. Like, that's the reason. Like, it's that. And, like, I find it interesting. It doesn't bother me that he doesn't kill him. I think it was...
It's a more interesting decision, I think.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting decision, but I think it's... I didn't like... It was just sad. It's like this... I thought that it's one of those things where it's like... I wrote how interesting I found that Rem is more than just like Vash's guiding light, as like was an influential person in his life. Rem is also like literally the core of his moral compass. Like Rem is like this magnet of his moral compass, and like even if this person like his like this choice he's made is absolute. Even though this person leveled half of a town, killing multiple people, like dead bodies, y'all. We saw lots of dead bodies.
Dead
in
children.
This episode. Dead kids. Like killed half of a town with reckless abandon, with the intent of killing him. Right? Like he still has to. He has promised this person that he would never take a life, and so even if this person deserves it, per corporal law or corporal punishment, he still has to forgive this individual, and has a whole breakdown about it at the end of the episode. Like, yeah, how can something be so restricting and be so traumatizing, right? This loss of this person, but like still needing to honor this memory, the grief.
And something that is so interesting about the way that's framed to me is one of the lines he has as near the end of the episode.
I was just about to say that.
Caro, you're probably hitting on the exact same thing.
Yeah, it was, I believe, if I shot him now, you would really die. Like, he's making that direct address. Yeah. Like, he's speaking to her.
Yeah.
It's like, so long as his streak remains pure, he doesn't have to mourn the death of this person who is really, truly important to him.
Yes.
He's like keeping her alive by maintaining that promise. So it's not, it's more than just I made a promise. It's like, to me, she is still alive right now. And if I kill someone, I'm killing her, basically.
Right. Yeah. And like, whew, the double-sided knife of like grief, right? Like, it's like, geez.
Absolutely.
Like, oh man, like how it can harm you. Like,
this is the show in its element, I feel like it is these moments where we see Vash push and we come to the edge of like the moral question. It's really good. I like it.
Yeah. Trigun's great.
It's really interesting seeing this episode back to back, I think, with Escape from Pain and, you know, some of the other episodes that have happened, you know, earlier in the season. I feel like, and it's been a minute since I've seen some of the other episodes, but I feel like Trigun is making this like rhetorical argument about like who is allowed to be innocent and what happens when innocence is taken away from us.
Yeah.
Like we see a lot of kids, we see a lot of these young lovers, we see these children. You know, we were just talking about Millie as this character who is innocent, or, you know, is not going to let the harshness of the world deprive her of joy. And I feel like, I don't know, this moment feels like a thesis of
yes, absolutely. And to even go beyond that, it's not even that Millie doesn't have that joy. There's this whole little arc in episode 11 with what's his name, Nicholas Wolfwood, where he is like looking to Millie and being like, oh, you're better than me.
Yeah, he says in that she does everything I can, like it's no big deal at all.
Yeah, that's the line. So 100%, I think.
Yeah, because it's like she and Millie lives by the credo of like, my big sister said, if somebody needs help, you help them. And it's just like, it's like one of those
Sorry
things
to dip back into the Millie zone for a moment, but the fact that she has 10 siblings.
10 siblings. 10 siblings.
The youngest.
I mean, hey, that's my mom, except that she's not nice. But like, I love you, Mom. That's my mom, except she's not nice. But I love you, Mom. She is also number 11, but yeah, like she refuses. She's nice, but then also to bring that back into number 12, right? How that flashback with Vash and Rem, and he's talking about the world he's on now. I saw a dry planet where everything and everyone's hearts were dry, and I didn't understand how they could live there. And Rem's answer was kind of wacky, but at the same time, it was just like she kind of shows him it wasn't wacky. It was just very disjointed. She was like, well, I just think that living is a clean slate of life. I was like, Rem, that didn't really do anything, but okay, live your life. You're dub. I got to watch this in the sub because this is wild. Where she essentially is like, but I think that because he was like, I don't understand how people want to get up and live in a place like that. And she was like, I think that every day is essentially like, she was essentially saying like every day is a blessing, which gave him this new perspective on life. And also seeing that he was a really serious person at one time. So like to think, you know, if anybody ever has to deal with mental illness, not to really get into the weeds or TMI about that, but like if somebody is constantly in a dark or like super serious place all the time or whatever, the amount of energy it takes to choose joy, I like, you know, like how much effort does that man have to put in every day just to wake up and be a Bugs Bunny ass motherfucker like he is all the time, you know?
That's what makes him, that's what makes him such a strong-willed character. The realization there that, you know, hey, Vash has some fucking demons.
Yeah, for real. And there's nothing funny about it. There's nothing like, this isn't, he's a funny guy, but the stuff that happened to him is not funny. And it's not, you know, it's not to be made light of. He doesn't make light of it because he just doesn't get into it. Like this, all of this is such a defense mechanism. Well, I imagine it's being used in some ways as a defense mechanism, you know.
Right.
This sort of gleeful abandon with which he does his Bugs Bunny shtick that we haven't seen in a while, honestly. Like the Bugs Bunny stuff.
No, I gotta correct you there.
No,
a little bit.
Oh yeah,
at the beginning of this episode of 12, he gets a basketball stuck in his mouth.
Can we talk about how hard that kid threw that basketball to not only knock him over but break the bench?
It's so good because he's in the middle of one of his REM flashbacks. Like he's like having this moment, and then he gets beamed in the face immediately with this basketball.
Talking about how blue the sky is, looking like handsome Squidward, and just takes a whole fucking ball to the face. It was amazing, and just sucks it in and has this whole dumb shit about try this shit at home, kids. It was so stupid.
I did love that he said, do try this at home. That was very funny to me.
This home. And then at the end of episode 11, when Wolf would realize, because, you know, the whole rule in anime is if you don't see a dead body, they're not dead. So it's just like when Wolfwood was like, oh, these are rubber bullets, and like went to shoot at him, he's like, no, don't shoot me. It's too close to hurt. So he's definitely on his Bugs Bunny shit. Just not a lot.
Okay. I spoke out of turn.
It's all right.
He did. It's okay. He was absolutely. Also, light Bugs Bunny shit running out of the. Did anybody see him Heisman that dude through the window? Cause that shit tickled my fucking funny bone so hard when he was trying to run out of the town and the guy poked his head out. He goes, "Nope!" And just stiff-armed that guy back into.
Get inside.
And threw the old man into a couch onto a couch through an open window. It was very good. I loved that. Anyway.
A question we should have asked earlier, considering, because Carol, you've seen all of Trigun, right? What is your relationship originally with Trigun?
Yeah, so these episodes. It's actually really interesting to have joined you for 11 and 12. As a high schooler in my after school anime club, we watched. I believe it was up to, I can't remember whether it was like episode 8, episode 9, something like that. I think we got, you know, a little taste of Wolfwood. And you know, we were watching like one episode a week. We had a couple other shows we were watching at the same time, skipped a couple weeks here and there. So I had fond memories of, you know, this first section of Trigun. And when I heard that y'all were watching, I was like, oh, I should catch back up and also watch ahead. And so I have seen the whole series at this point, but this turning point, and you know, these kind of episodes 11 and 12 were really, this was the period when I was watching it by myself. I was like, oh, we're in some new territory here, and I feel like it really is reflective of like, oh, this is indicative of kind of a turning point in the season.
Ooh, that's a really interesting point then, I think, for us to have left off for this season, our discussion of Trigun. That makes me think like, and makes me very much want to make sure we revisit Trigun again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Along.
Setting yourselves up in that way, yeah.
This has been, I can't live with this cliffhanger forever. So if none of us picks it for our vanity pick, I urge you fans, please vote Trigun. And when the season 2 survey comes out.
3 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I'll watch it. I don't give a fuck. I watch this shit all the time. Fucking love it.
As long as we're watching anime and we're here talking about it, I think we're going to have a good time.
I think we're going to have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're going to have a great time.
And I'm going to have a great time because after we've wrapped up this episode, the next anime on the lineup is the return to the one and only Tenchi Muyo.
Heck yeah, Tenchi Muyo. Let's go.
Newland's going to be in his element.
I am.
So ready.
I'm going to be right back.
Who picked this one?
Who picked this one?
I wonder.
Who can
could
say?
Possibly?
I think it was Newland. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe it was me, but I don't know. Maybe it was Newland.
Anyway, we're going to be coming back in with the first 2 episodes of the second OAV.
Yeah.
If you're watching on Funimation, that's what they call Tenchi Muyo episodes 8 and 9.
Yeah, that's right.
8 and 9.
This is all so wild.
There's going to be some weird stuff in there, but hey, it's a mixed bag. But it's really good. There's all kinds of
weird
Ryoko's
stuff. I just
there.
call that podcast fuel.
I just call that
Yeah.
podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say that's just more material for the pod.
Grist for the mill.
Yeah, exactly. Fresh bones for the podcast mill.
Throw that in there. You got some soup. You got a stew going,
There you
baby.
go. Hell yeah.
You've got a
Bring it
soup
up.
started, friend.
There you go. We love it. We love our podcast. Soup. Good soup.
Tasty.
I
Carol,
love
thank you
anime
for-
soup.
I
Sorry.
do too.
That was nothing.
Anime soup, isn't that just Food Wars?
I mean, okay. If you've already brought us there, Max, you recall the restaurant Super Saiyan, correct?
Yes.
Remember this
Any listeners who were with us back in the Dragon Ball Z Zenkai Boost days might know that I visited a Dragon Ball Z themed ramen shop in Orlando, Florida.
Hell yeah.
And it was actually pretty good.
I love that. Super Saiyan. That's so good.
All right.
That's so good.
Well, thank you,
Bandai Namco
Carol, for
company.
joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. This was a real delight. Like I, said at the end, like this was kind of new territory for me as far as where we are in Trigun, and so it was exciting to revisit it and exciting to be on the pod.
It was a real game changer. You bringing the guest game is
so good.
Revolutionary.
God, it was so nice to not have to come up with a game this week. Like, I could get used to this, all right? You know what I'm saying?
What did Newland do with those extra 6 hours that he usually?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Truly.
I put so much time.
Read a
effort.
book.
It's crazy.
Took a nap.
If you want to use Afterschool Anime Flub, you go right ahead. Those are all the only questions that I wrote, but that's one you can stick in your pocket if you want.
Thank you.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. And that bell means it's come to
It's done. Get out of here.
done. We've come to another end of another episode. We're really glad that you were here with us. I'm going to do my best not to get confrontational this time.
Hey, no. Everybody stop for a second. Take a deep breath. Can we all just maintain control? Carol, I'm sorry you have to be here for this. Sometimes we get a little aggressive at the end of the show.
Yeah.
I will not
And we're not
maintain
doing
control.
that this time. We're
I
all
have been
breathing.
drinking
In fact, I'm going to bring...
sweet
I feel like
wine.
I'm maybe a couple of layers too high right now.
No.
I'm going to settle down
I refuse.
one step at a time.
Cranking
And now
it
we're
to
going to walk through the end of the show.
Absolutely.
Newland, will you pick it up right where you were?
If you want to follow the show We're on Twitter at Anime Club Pod. We're on TikTok at Afterschool Anime Club. We're on Instagram. I forget what it is, and I'm sorry about that. I'll figure it out.
Is it Anime Club Pod? It's Anime Club Pod, isn't it?
It might be. I got logged out, and I can't.
No.
I forgot how to log back in.
You'll find it.
So
just give it a Google.
We'll figure it out. And you know what? This is part of a 3-episode drop that released on New Year's Day 2023. I'm glad you were here for it. Well, season 2's back, baby. We're in it.
It's here.
And if you want to leave us a review, that would be wonderful with 5 stars. And especially if you write something funny, and then I'll read it.
Yes.
On the show.
As long as there's no chicken-headed shit.
No chicken-headed.
Thank you. Yeah. And no chicken-headed shit.
See, if somebody else says it, it's not us being aggressive. There we go.
Yeah. Thank you, Carol, for falling on that sword. Carol, what work would you like? What work of yours should our listener be searching out?
Yeah, I don't know if Twitter is gonna be around come January 1st. We are recording this on the 28th, but a lot has been happening these past few weeks. Who knows? If you want to check out my games, game design stuff, you can find that at Sea Excursion, spelled SEA Excursion.itch.io.
Nice.
Check those out. I make some cool games, I think.
Stevie, you got something you want to plug?
Yeah, I mean, check me out here. But, also, maybe there's going to be Twitter in the new year. So if there is Twitter in the new year, you can check me out on Twitter, but also on Instagram, Everlasting. I can get into mine on a smattering on both platforms.
And Max?
You can find me on Twitter. For now, it's at Max_attacks. Come say hi, talk about anime. And if the site explodes, well, I'll make something new wherever everybody ends up. And then I'll talk about it here on the show.
When the dust settles.
Yeah. When the victor rises from the pile of corpses.
Yeah. That's a good way to play it with social media. And I'm Max Newland _ find it there. It's all good. Thank you so much again for joining us. We're looking forward to see you again next week with Tenchi Muyo OVA number 2, episodes 1 and 2, or just 8 and 9 if you watch it on Funimation. That's it. That's all. That's the whole podcast. You finished it once again. That's anime.
We've done it.
We
finished anime.
We've solved anime.
We anime.
And we couldn't have done it without your help. As always, we're so glad you were with us, and we'll see you at the next meeting. Bow.
I also reset. I push the microphone away out of the laptop space every time, so nothing is set. I have no idea where anything is. Okay, I've done it. We're set up. I got timed. We've got our wine with ice cubes in it, like an aunt.
Wow,
classy. Yeah.
It's just leftover wine from Christmas dinner, and it's really sweet, and it's open, and I gotta drink it. It's Christmas wine.
Yeah,
that sounds really good, actually.
It's like some fancy. Well, it's like It's like really sweet dessert wine. Like, you know, at Olive Garden, that fucking I used to work there. You'd think I'd remember, but I don't. But like that really sweet cap wine that's slightly carbonated.
I can safely say I have not been to Olive Garden.
I'm so proud of you. It's not good. It's mostly just Gallo family horse swill bullshit. It's like horse spit. None of it's good. There's very few good
horse wine? Are you suggesting there's horse in the wine?
That's just bourbon.
Horse wine?
Horse wine's just bourbon. Let's be real here.
What's happening on this episode? We're all recording, right? We're all recording?
We are all recording.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm really glad about that.
Okay. This will be one for the outtakes.
Yeah.
Chew that umeboshi, baby. Chew it slowly.
Dawn! Quit your fancy ASMR dreaming and wake up!
What?
We're back!
Who's back?
Okashina Podcast Anime with Friends, of course.
Oh, never heard of it.
I have.
Who are you?
I'm Victoria. I'm joining Okashina Podcast as the third chair.
Nani?
Would everyone stop screaming?
Why, I'm glad you asked. Okashina Podcast Anime with Friends is a podcast in which two childhood besties, me, Sabrina, and you, Dawn, and you, Victoria, watch anime together and then discuss what we watched with restrained delight.
That's 3 people.
Sounds boring. I'm going back to bed.
You can't! You'll miss all the weird, wild, under-the-radar anime we cover.
I never agreed to this.
It's fun! Check us out on the Moonshot Podcast Network.
Insert joke.